Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do continue, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. We also had Tony. Now, Izuku and Tony, these two are currently inside of his own mind where Deku is trying to survive. He currently is running around a mental recreation of New York City, and this is not very good. If Izuku is destroyed, he may not be able to take back his own mind from Ultron. He ran into Tony, who is a stray thought, something he's created. And this means a number of things. Tony saved Izuku and is currently helping him build a suit to protect himself from Ultron. If they can take back his mind, Deku can regain control. And this has meant a number of things. Though Tony has been quite adamant about a lot that's happened here. You can't save everybody, but heroes will rise. Some aren't born, they're built. And speaking of building, they need to get to work on building him a suit. And this, it does mean quite a bit. And while that was currently happening outside, inside Deku's head, there was on the outside in the real world, where Ultron revealed Deku's identity and then began the process of world domination. The Inhumans are on the verge of their own civil war. Over in Wakanda, Storm took T'Challa's mind with the Mind Stone and turned him to Izuku's side. She then began her attack on Wakanda while the Black Panther tried to retrieve the Time Stone. He got notified with the Hulk, and the Maker took the stone and vanished. I finally decided to reveal that he exists in the story. He's been around for a little while, and this has been quite a bit. There currently was over in Genosha, where 4 of Attilan's guardians were sent by Ultron to wreak havoc on the location, along with many of Deku's allies, trying to hunt down specific mutants who are a threat. Now, there also is over in New York, where the Avengers are dealing with a problem. Another one of Attilan's guardians breaking things down, making them into better weapons and upgrading itself to kill the populace. And this is an issue. All of Deku's plans are moving accordingly. All of Ultron's plans are being enacted at once. The world does not have time to prepare itself for this. And right now the heroes are being spread thin. And Ultron, he smiles. Many things are happening. If Latveria can conquer the world, if he can conquer the world, then there will be peace. And this, it makes Ultron happy. Currently, him staring on, as his eyes do to glow red. Him with a few things going through his mind. A few ideas as to what to do. And there currently is inside Izuku's head, where Deku, he currently is going to fly around in an Iron Man armor. Him going to turn and bring his hands up, blasting out at Ultron robots flying after him. And Deku, he is trying to keep himself steady. Currently, him going to turn on his air brakes and fly backwards, pass through the robots, bring his hands up and firing missiles at them. Them being struck in the chest and going to explode. And there currently is Tony, who does go to turn. Right now, him seeing one of the Ultron robots flying away with the capsule in hand. And Tony would yell out for what Deku needs to do. Him turning and blasting at some of the other robots. And Deku does a turn. Right now, him going to fly to the robot and bring his hands up. Currently, going to get ready. The robot trying to maintain its own orbit, maintain its own flight. And Deku, he has to bring his hand up. Currently, him blasting out and hitting the robot directly in the leg. It going to slow down as it continues to go flying out of its hands. And Deku, here's a dive. Right now, him flying in and grabbing the container. Going to turn as actually sort of shoulder-mounted cannon does actually shoot up and blast out a missile at the robot. It flying through the air and going to explode. And this is where Deku, he's going to spin back around and grab the container. Him going to actually fly away and ready. Tony and him have a plan to meet up soon. And this area, this place, it's not safe. It's breaking down. And that, it does mean quite a bit. Izuku and Tony need resources. They need a lot. Avengers Tower is believed to be the source of Ultron. It's believed to be where he originates from. This place, it's his brain. Yes, but at the helm of it is Ultron. And Deku, he doesn't want that to be there. Currently, him and Tony flying back to the hidden lab and going to land. And Izuku, he's got a lot, well, going on inside of his head, but he's also got a lot on his mind currently. He knows every step of Ultron's plan, and so far, it's going to work. Izuku's just going to stand there. And currently, he does, go to open the container and get things ready. As they do, begin the process of using the material inside to build more and more better weapons, trying to survive Ultron's attack. They need to hold out. Tony said it before. He doesn't exactly know what it is, but he trusts him. This place is breaking down. They need to hold out till then. Whenever it breaks down, Ultron won't have control. And the entire city, it has been a shake again. And there is actually in the real world, where Ultron, he does gotta bring his hand up to his head. Him a lot more concerned. And there actually is Izuku, who does gotta look up and then gotta look around. Currently, him bringing his right hand up and finding himself back in his body. And this is alarming. Deku gonna turn his head and see Victor Von Doom. For his left hand is gonna come up, grabbing Doki at his throat and at the armor. And Deku, he's very alarmed. Currently, him gonna stand up and grab at his left arm. And there actually is Iron Man. Iron Man, he is just staying there for a second, moving forwards as Dr. Doom does turn his head. And we do currently have inside the lab of Wakanda, where a beeping sound is heard. However, that sound is quickly being ignored, because the storm raging on outside, along with T'Challa and the Hulk raging back and forth. Now, there currently is in New York, where one thing is beginning to happen. The Earth's mightiest heroes, they were not able to keep up with this. However, a portal does open up. Currently Thor flying through along with Doctor Strange. And Strange, he has to stand there staring at the massive robot. Thor, somewhat going to float there in the air and holding up his mighty hammer. And he has to do one thing. He has to fly in. Him trying to attack the robot as he does him smashing down, he has a hit onto a shield. Currently the shield taking the blow as there is a mighty cocoon. Now, we do actually have back over in Latveria, where there is currently Deku and Ultron. A brilliant flash of light does shine directly from Izuku's body, and the air does get covered in it. Currently the beam flying into the air, and there currently is Izuku, who he does go to stand there. Right now him looking around and not seeing anything. He's back on Atellan. Deku brings his hands down, and then looking down at his hands. He can feel them. Truthfully, he can. But what's happening? Currently, Tony walking in, and Deku turns his head. Tony going to express. Right. Listen. It's been some time. Though, it's definitely been something else. Currently in the real world, Deku falling to the ground and bringing his hands up, grabbing at his skull. His migraine is intense. It's massive. And it doesn't feel right. Ultron failed. The thing inside of Izuku's head did not be destroyed. It was not taken out, broken down. It could not have been. And this, it concerns Ultron. Currently the faceplate going to shoot open as blood pours down from Deku's head. And this is where Ultron, he has to look up. Currently, him aware of a few things. As right now his thoughts, they are conflicted. They're alarming. He can feel Deku pushing back into his own mind. He's being pushed out. And this hurts. It's more pain than he's ever felt. More pain than anything. And currently, he just won't scream out, trying to maintain control, holding onto the Mind Stone and trying to force his control. But that is currently the issue. And we do actually cut back over to Izuku, who does go to have some blueprints pop up. Him seeing a standard Iron Man armor. And Tony does ask the kid if he's got time to create something. Because reality, it is whatever he can make it. And Izuku does a smile. Currently, Tony's eyes glowing red. And Izuku, he can understand it now. He can understand a lot of things. It all begins to make sense. And we do currently cut back to Ultron, who doesn't bring his hands up to his head. Him screaming out as there is a brilliant flash. And then there's a stand Iron Man. Currently, him sitting on the ground and trying to gain his bearing. And Ultron, he doesn't bring his hand up to his face. A lot more conflicted. A lot more alarmed. Because right now he is alive. He's still here. He doesn't bring his hand up. Currently, him not seeing the Mind Stone nor the Space Stone in his hand. As I turn his head, him seeing another Iron Man armor standing there. And it does mean to take shape. Currently, it forming into another armor. And Deku, he's at the faceplate slide open. Ultron seeing Deku staying there, with a bloody nose, his eyes glowing red. And Ultron fully going to turn, yelling at Izuku that he is ruining his plans. He is not supposed to be here. Maybe so. But guess what? Your time is over, Ultron. Deku bring his hand up. And Ultron, he has to stand there. Deku blasting him away as he does bring his hands up trying to rush forwards. And there actually is where somebody else, they are alerted to a lot of things. Currently, this being where Doctor Strange does turn his head, hearing in his ear about something going on. And this concerns him. And Doctor Strange currently does turn flying through a portal, trying to understand what is happening. He currently would go to Express, seeing a few things. This being where he does see Storm still raging on her storm in Wakanda. And T'Challa, he's sent flying through the air and smashing into a building. Currently, him falling forwards and smashing onto the ground. Him going to get back up and stare at the Incredible Hulk. Him going to go down on all fours and be ready. Him going to, with one hand, push off and get ready, leaping up into the air and flying through the air, arcing through the sky for him to smash down and smash all the force he can down into the area. And Doctor Strange, we're going to watch on. The Hulk trying to rush for T'Challa and then smashing into this wall. Him being pushed backwards as T'Challa does to rush forwards. Him going to get ready. And Hulk, he's going to bring his hands down. Him smashing his fist down into T'Challa. And T'Challa is going to bring his arms up and trying to brace his body. His armor taking the blow as T'Challa will going to bring his hand up and slash Hulk across the eye. And this, it does put Hulk on the back foot. Him screaming out in pain, and T'Challa going to bring his hand up. Him punching at the Hulk and blasting him with all the force, Hulk threw down at him, hitting him with even more. And this, it does send the Hulk flying backwards and skidding through the ground. Currently, him a lot more concerned. And there is actually where Iron Man does go to appear. And Deku, he has his own float there. Him in the air and holding up the Mind Stone. Before, he does go to do one thing. He does go to deactivate all of its power. And the moment he does, Storm does his own stand there. Her looking around and seeing the destruction. And she does seem more alarmed. Her bring her hands up and remembering everything. Some of her actions are her own, but many of them that have harmed people are not. And this, it concerns her. A lot rushing through her mind. And there currently is all of Ultron's allies, who, they ceased their actions. The mutants hunting mutants in Genosha. The heroes hunting heroes in New York. And this, it does mean quite a bit. And currently there actually is Hulk and T'Challa. T'Challa is sent flying through the air and smashing into the ground. Him getting back up as Hulk is rushing towards him. And T'Challa, he has to bring his hands up to brace himself, already feeling some of the pain in his body, aware that the Hulk is a monster. He can't be stopped. And Hulk, he has to go rushing forwards, before Deku will reappear and also bring his hand up, smashing it down as Deku brings his hand up and catches Hulk's arm. And Hulk, he has to stare at Deku, trying to talk about how Metal Man should not be. Deku bringing his hand out and punching him directly in the chest, sends him flying backwards. Right now the Hulk begins flying through the air and smashing through the Wakandan shield. And right now, the space above, it does begin to disintegrate. And Wakanda, it does have its shield defenses lowered. And T'Challa, he does just stand there, as Deku holds up his hands staring at them, aware as to what this armor can do. And Deku would turn his head, telling T'Challa he's sorry, before Deku does disappear. And the King of Wakanda, he does fall to his knees for a second, trying to catch his breath. All of his thoughts feel skewed. His mind was run through the ringer. And currently he does, because don't sit there on his hands and knees before his mask does disappear. Him trying not to lose his lunch. However, everything hurts. And that battle, it certainly was something. He needs to catch his breath. He needs to rest. And he needs to check on his people. Find out what happened. Because Iron Man is involved. And we do currently have over in Genosha. Iron Man, he does reappear. And the moment Deku does do so, he does go look down. He needs to be careful. He has to maintain focus. Train of thought. Train of thought. Just, no, they weren't supposed to do what they're doing. Deku bring his hands up and trying to focus. However, he has to see the destruction in Genosha. He sees the way his creatures, his robots, his creations, they wreaked havoc on the populace. And Deku, he has to wave his hand, trying to focus on one idea. And this, it does do quite a bit. Currently the robots all going to disintegrate. And Deku, he has to watch them begin to do so. This being where Magneto, he does a look around. He was already flying through the air trying to figure things out, trying to recover from his battle with some of the X-Men. But after watching this thing disappear, there actually was where he saw Iron Man, saw him floating there. And Deku, he just turned, looking at the man and disappearing again. Before Deku arrives in New York, and the moment he does do so, there currently is the Avengers, Thor flying in and smashing into the giant metal monster. It having its entire torso blown directly through as it does gonna fall backwards, smashing onto the ground, and Thor would return. Him looking at the creation as it does, begin to start melting down and then going to reform. Currently it taking the form of two robots, half the size, and bring its hands up. Currently them going to fire out a lot of electricity at Thor, and Thor would wind up his hammer and bring it up, blocking the attack as there is, where one of the robots does have one jump out of the side of it and go to rush forwards. Currently Thor bringing his hand up and saying that, turning as Robot is going to fly towards him and fly directly into his nose. Right now Thor bringing his hand up to try and stop it. And there actually is Suzuku, who would go to appear and bring his hand up. Him going to change everything. And the moment he has to set things back to where it was, there being one massive robot, he does a turn. Him blasting the robot away with one of his repulsors. And this, it does surprise the God of Thunder. Currently him turning to Iron Man. Deku turning his head back and asking if they're okay. Currently the God of Thunder staring at Iron Man, along with his strange new suit. And Deku, he does try to express a few things. It's a long story. A lot has happened and he needs to sort it all out. However, right now, gather heroes. Gather them all at Avengers Tower. A lot is happening. And they're going to step forwards, currently seeing Deku. On Deku, his eyes just glow bright red. Him staring up at Thor as the energy is being poured out of his armor. And Deku, he doesn't just sit there. Bring his hands up and blast them up into the air. Him just trying to focus. Maintain his thoughts and not let any of them stray him. One stray thought is all it takes. He controls reality. He controls a lot. If he could decide for it, Thor will be turned into nothing. Disappear, turn into something else. Who knows? Possibilities are currently endless. And Izuku, he does have one thing going through his mind. One thought he needs to correct. Ultron. And this, it has been quite a bit. Thor watching Iron Man blast up into the air and fly off. And Deku, he currently needs to fly through the air, trying to compile his thoughts. Crystal, Jasmine, his wife and daughter. His family situation is bad. Very bad right now. The reality stone is stuck in his head. It told him that. The facsimile, the creation, the thing that looked like Tony Stark, it was a version of his mind trying to come to terms with reality powers. Access to the reality stone? It makes sense. Time and reality. It's how it moved. It's how time... No. It's how things have become wonky. This on Deku's mind. He is trying to do his best, and currently his thoughts are somewhat slipping. Extremist being in his system is giving him leeway. It is allowing Izuku to still try to function. But that stone being in his mind the way it is still causing untold havoc to reality. He is trying his best to minimize things, but there's a lot even he is unaware he's changing. And this is a problem. Currently, Deku flying in to Ultron's base and smashing down, bringing his hands up, looking around and trying to find him. And Deku does have the thought go through his mind. He wants Ultron in front of him right now. And the robot, here's a turn. Right now him looking around very confused, bringing his hands down and staring at himself, before turning his head and seeing Iron Man. And Deku, here's a stand there, stepping forwards as Ultron would bring his hand up, trying to attack Deku. But Deku does still move forwards. Currently, him going to express that this is illogical. It is impossible. How did he do it? And Deku, he does continue to move, not saying a word. And Ultron, he'll gonna send out his robotic army at Deku. Him bringing his hand up and ordering all of them to attack. And Deku, here's a fly forwards, bringing his hands up and getting ready. As his armor begins to rip through and tear through the robots. And Ultron will gonna watch on. A single blow, a single strike. Many of these robots are being blown apart in seconds. And it does make him terrified. Currently Deku throwing a robot his way. Ultron bring up a shield and getting ready. Deku flying towards him as Ultron he has to get ready. Expecting him to be knocked back by the shield. Expecting him to take a massive amount of damage and get out of this somewhat safely. But Deku brings his hands up. Him ripping into the shield and grabbing at Ultron's throat. Bring him up and then gonna tear him in half. And the moment Deku does to do so, he does go to throw down the parts and get ready. Currently, him going to bring his hands up and send out missile systems up into the air. And the area, it is bombarded by an attack. Currently the ground shaking beneath Deku as Deku, he has to stand there in the wreckage of the area. And Deku, he looks around. What he's built is a weapon. What he's built is dangerous. Very dangerous. And somebody, they do come flying down. Then I'm going to land as Deku sees one of his stray thoughts. One of the ideas in his mind. And currently, there is Riri Williams, who does stand there in front of Izuku. Her trying to express that Deku, he needs help. He needs a lot of help. Her stepping forwards, trying to express about what is going on. And Deku, he does stand there, bringing his hands up and trying to focus and maintain reality. Know what is happening. Riri Williams died 5 years ago. More than 5 years ago. The thing in front of him is not her. His mind created it to try and stop him. His mind did it to try and help and save him. And currently, Deku does see Iron Man fly down and land. I'm going to stand up and try to express similar things. And Izuku turns his head looking around. Him being surrounded by a lot of people. And Deku does bring his hands up. Him trying to focus his thoughts and keep himself together. Keep himself centered and aligned. But Izuku is a blast up into the air. Him with one location currently in mind. And as Izuku is a rocketing out in space, he does go use the Space Stone. Him going to smash down and land directly in Avengers Tower. And the moment he does do so, he does go to climb out of this armor. Him smashing onto the ground and going to get back up. And there actually were some heroes, they do see Izuku. Doctor Strange walking through a portal and staring at Deku. Him bending down and expressing to him a few things, since he wants him to look at him. And Izuku, he was going to do so. And Strange, he doesn't see Izuku. The way his eyes are, the way he's bleeding, and the way he's acting. There's a lot of things currently going wrong with this. And there actually is inside the tower, where somebody, they do to teleport back in. Right now, them back into place. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Now, currently, Iron Man, he has him flying down. Him stepping forwards and trying to express a few things. Him talking about how the boy needs help. He needs a lot of help. And everyone, they turn their heads seeing Tony Stark. Him staying there in an Iron Man suit. Alive. This confusing Doctor Strange. And Tony would walk over, bending down and bring something up in his hand, expressing to Izuku. He needs to maintain focus. Can he do that for him? Just breathe. And this, it does mean quite a bit. As Izuku, he is given something to sedate him. And currently, he's going to fall into Iron Man and Doctor Strange. And Tony's going to turn his head, expressing about how the kid certainly has done a number on himself. How are you alive? Long story. I don't know where to start. But how about we help the kid first? He has the reality stone inside of his head. Does he? Other heroes are going to step forwards. And Reed, he would bring his hand up, tapping into a button on his gauntlet, expressing, he doesn't just have the reality stone. He has 2 other stones. And this is incredible. Though, the fact that it's inside of his brain, there are a lot of things to question about that. Though, they need to work fast. Reed going to ask Tony if he's willing to help him out. Willing to help him get that stone out of the boy's mind. And this is where Tony will get a turn, expressing he's willing to help the kid, yeah. They should probably get started already. And this is where Tony and Reed Richards, they do take Deku inside, as Doctor Strange questions a lot. Him gonna bring his hands up and try and check the baseline for reality. Try and check to see if there's any more alterations. However, whatever Izuku has done already, it either has gone away or has become permanent. And so far those changes won't be apparent until they take that stone out of his head and hold it for themselves. Nothing is concrete. But in New York City, Genosha, Wakanda, and multiple other places, they have suffered a massive amount of loss today. And this is just the beginning. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part. And brief little explanation for anyone who's confused or thinks this is a bit of a what is it? The term Deus Ex Machina. I've set this up from the moment Deku was hit by the beam whenever he had the time stone in his hand. And that was a while back. Yeah. If I sound tired to you guys, or if I just don't sound very energetic or active, I'm pretty sure I'm getting a cold or I'm getting sick. So yeah, I'm very tired right now. Anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I know this feels like a bit out of left field, but that's sort of the point. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good night.